I gave her. You see?
Way too. The RE2 remake was an immediate hit when it dropped back in 2019. I mean, it high-key officially put the Resident Evil series back on the map, being arguably one of the greatest remakes ever made, and one of the blueprints on how you do and what is a good remake.
Over anything.
Great graphics, expanded on areas, good amount of content, Mr. X himself. Mr. X was giving it to everybody that year. There's been a lot of remakes since then too, as we all know, but that RE2 remake, man, that junk is still at the top in some of Capcom's finest work as of late. I mean, one can't argue if Capcom wasn't doing these remakes for these last few years. I mean, yeah, and they got Street Fighter 6 dropping this year. Don't get it twisted. That's not all they got. I'm just saying that for these past few years, their remakes have kind of been their bread and butter. The RE3 remake, which followed soon after RE2's success, that came out, wasn't by the same team, so it was a massive step down. I mean, I know some people did like that remake, but I mean, compared to RE2, that jump was like, that jump was nowhere near as good, nowhere near as fun to play. How do you ruin Nemesis when you hit Mr. X so well? I still really don't know what happened with the RE3 remake, to be honest with you, but I just know it wasn't made by the same team. But here we now have RE4. RE4 remake is coming soon, I think in the next 2 weeks, and this is a lot of people's, one of their most anticipated games this year. This is one of the biggest game releases this year. A lot of people are hyped for this junk. A lot of people cannot wait for this game. I know a demo is supposed to drop either today or tomorrow. It's supposed to drop sometime this week. A lot of people are all over this RE4 remake train right now. A remake of one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Resident Evil game in the series. Hell, one of the greatest games of all time, I've been told. The game that influenced all of your favorite games from back in the day, as everybody likes to say with this game. Listen, like I said, that RE4 original, I don't care what no one say. I will go to my grave saying this junk. RE4 is one of the most overrated games. One of the most overrated games of all time, but people love this junk, right?
It's facts! It's facts! It's not facts, these sites is not facts.
And if I'm gonna be real, I mean, everything that they've been showing so far for the RE4 remake, it's been looking good. Like, every time they show gameplay, it looks impressive. It looks like they are putting that same amount of care and love into this remake that they did with the RE2 remake. You know, everything has been looking good so far. Everything excluding that milky rain. You know, the main thing that people have been talking about this remake that they don't like is, you know, the rain effects. But I've heard that they actually said they will fix that, so it's not going to be like that when the actual game comes out. But yeah, everything that I've been seeing so far from the RE4 remake, the gameplay, the graphics, they got the whole parry system into play. Even Ashley don't look like she's this damsel in distress, you know, that she was in the original game. She doesn't look like she's nowhere near as annoying, which is great. You know, my question is, though, when the RE4 remake does come out, will it be just as good as the RE2 remake, or even potentially surpass the RE2 remake as far as just how good the remake actually is? Again, if you go back to that RE2 remake, when that RE2 remake dropped in 2019, I mean, yeah, RE7, I feel like, saved Resident Evil, because if y'all remember the spot that this series was in before RE7 came out, Resident Evil looked like it was low-key dead. And then RE7 came out, I was like, it like gave some like CPR to like the Resident Evil, to the Resident Evil series. But then the RE2 remake dropped, and then it kind of like literally put Resident Evil back on the map. People loved it. You know, if you was playing on console, if you was playing on PC, the whole stuff with Mr. X, it was a great remake and people loved the game. Will the RE4 remake be able to reach that same amount of success? It has all of the ingredients there to surpass the RE2 remake, but will it? In my opinion, I don't think it will. I just feel like RE2 is just a better game. Just story-wise, I feel like RE2 is just a better game than RE4. Again, I just feel like RE4 is like drastically overrated as a game. I don't think it's a bad game, but just like the pedestal that people put RE4 on, I just don't see it. I really just don't see it. But again, like the remake could have changed that. You know, RE4, the original one came out in like what year? 2004 or 5 or something like that. We now in 2023. You know, maybe I might like this remake a lot more than the original, and I'd be like, hey, hold on, this junk is actually right up there with the RE2 remake. I don't know, but what do you guys think? Do you guys feel like the RE4 remake, when this thing drops, I think what is it, March 24th, when this remake drops, do you guys feel like it's gonna be as successful and as great as that RE2 remake was? We all know it's going to be better than the RE3 remake. I'm like, that's not even that's not even in this discussion. But will it be up there with the RE2 remake? And how many remakes are we getting for Resident Evil? Is after, because if after this they'll do 5 and 6, it's just gonna be like, all right, bro, come on, bro. Like, all of these remakes is good and all, but it is kind of starting to get back to the point to where some of the biggest games dropping all appear to be remakes. I hope we don't get back to that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next video, my brothers and sisters, I'll catch you boys in my next one, all right?